Trey Gowdy blows lid off of Comey's Fox News interview, mentions Felony by Johnny Smith for RWNofficial.com. In an extensive interview with Fox News' Tucker Carlson last night, the South Carolina Congressman Trey Gowdy executively and meticulously took apart some of the former FBI director's talking points, which led up to President Donald Trump's firing of the former FBI director. In the video below, they stopped short of calling Comey a liar. This all came about when Comey had an earlier appearance on Fox News' special report with Bret Baier, where he made a series of odd claims from his time as FBI director while he was investigating the now disproven collusion between the Donald Trump presidential campaign and the Kremlin. Comey told Baier that he isn't sure exactly how much of the debunked Trump dossier created by former British spy Christopher Steele was paid for by the Democratic National Committee and Hillary Clinton campaign. Of course not. Let's just take a little bit of a listen here.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. Rapper Kanye West has spent 4 days posting pro-Trump content on Twitter. What does that mean for America and humanity and life itself? We'll investigate just ahead. But first, Fox's Bret Baier just conducted a deeply revealing interview with former FBI Director Jim Comey. During that interview, Comey tried to claim that the Steele dossier, the one he hid information about from the president, was not central to the request for a FISA warrant against people affiliated with the Trump campaign. Here's part of it.
You called the dossier unverified, salacious. Why did you use that to the FISA court to ask for surveillance for Carter Page? Not only use it, but you led with it. A bulk of that FISA application deals with that dossier. Why?
Yeah, that's not my recollection, Brett. And I don't know that the FISA application has been released. My recollection was it was part of a broader mosaic of facts that were laid before the FISA judge to obtain a FISA warrant.
There was a lot more than the dossier in the FISA application?
My recollection was there was a significant amount of additional material about Page and why there was probable cause to believe he was an agent of a foreign power. And the dossier was part of that, but was not all of it or a critical part of it. It's my recollection.
I don't know that it's been released. Hiding behind government secrecy once again. Congressman Trey Gowdy represents South Carolina. He chairs the Oversight Committee in the House of Representatives, and he joins us tonight. Mr. Chairman, thanks for coming on. What did you watched the interview. What did you learn from it?
Couple of things. Number one, the Page and Strzok he would have fired immediately, which means the two agents that were leading both the Clinton and Trump investigations should have been canned. Director Comey's recollection is flawed. If he does not remember telling Congress that his agents told him they didn't think Flynn was lying, then he needs to get his lawyers to go back and look at the transcript. We did not mishear. Maybe he misspoke, but that's in the transcript. And the double standard that he's had for the last couple of weeks still exists. You know, Clinton can lie and she ought to be president. McCabe can lie and he's still a stand-up guy. But Trump, boy, if he tells any lies at all, then impeachment is too good of a remedy for him.
And that dangerous Martha Stewart who went to prison for lying, and he brags about that in his book, right? He doesn't remember a lot. He doesn't remember when he first heard about the Steele dossier. He doesn't remember who told him about the Steele dossier. Is that plausible?
No, because he knew that Republicans paid for it, even though that's inaccurate. So if he learned about it in the fall of 2016, then it was already known that the Democrats had picked up on that work. So whoever briefed him, why would you just say the Republicans started it, but not also include the Democrats finished it? So right. the part about it not being part of the FISA application, not a significant part, then Tucker, why did you use it at all? And I've actually read the application, and he's just wrong. It was an indispensable part of the application, period.
So how can he claim otherwise? I mean, his first reaction was, I don't think that's been made public. In other words, you can't prove me wrong because you and the rest of the civilians asking these questions, the American citizens here, don't have access to the relevant information. But as you just pointed out, you do. You've seen it. That's not true. This forms a central part of the request, correct?
Well, there are three parts of it. this is one of the parts. They led with it, and if my recollection is correct, it occupied a disproportionately large part of that application. So I go back and ask all those who say it wasn't important, then why did you use it? If you didn't need it, why did you use it, and why did you lead with it?
So let's strip away the politics and take Trump out of this so we can see clearly. At the core is the allegation that Carter Page, the hapless Carter Page, was acting, as the former director said tonight, as an agent of a foreign power. Is that a plausible claim? Do you think any reasonable person looking at the available evidence could reach a conclusion that Carter Page is a Russian agent?
It'd be tough. I think most people that have any experience with Carter Page, which would include the FBI, because they've interviewed him on a number of occasions, you'd be more likely to call him a clown than a spy.
So what do you make of that?
And I don't say that to be disparaging towards him. I mean, I spent a lot of time with him in a congressional committee room.
Right.
If anyone needed his Fifth Amendment right to counsel, if anyone needed a lawyer while he was talking to Congress, it would have been Carter Page. I just don't. I mean, he's not James Bond. He's not Jason Bourne. It's sad, actually.
So if our top law enforcement official can say with a straight face on live television that Carter Page is a foreign spy and represents a threat to American national security, he's lying, it sounds like.
Well, I don't quarrel with the FBI wanted to run out a lead. I mean, I'm probably biased I am biased towards law enforcement. Go ahead and run out the lead. The challenge then becomes when you are going to spy on an American citizen, it needs to be more than a lead. You need to have probable cause and make all proper representations to the court. The other thing I will tell you, Tucker, that I learned tonight is Jim Comey has a definition of the word leak that no one else has. Yeah. What he says is a leak is what the rest of us call a felony. Leaking is disclosing a confidential conversation, which is exactly what he did.
He came off as much oilier in this interview, though.
There you have it. It's called a felony. He's calling it a leak, and we're calling it a felony. He followed the claim by downplaying the importance of this dossier that he had in obtaining the wiretap warrant to spy on Carter Page, who is a Trump associate. Comey denied that he engaged in leaking when he secretly gave his confidential memos about his meeting with Trump to a friend to have them published in the New York Times. The Conservative Tribune provided more information on the exchange between Trey Gowdy and Tucker Carlson. Carlson zeroed in on those issues with Gowdy. He doesn't remember a lot. Yeah, we know that. So I've actually read the application and it's just wrong. We heard him say that. He's getting a respectful greeting from liberals like ABC's George Stephanopoulos, and he's been getting grilled by interviewers like Bear. But whatever their politics, few know the inside story about Comey the way Gowdy does, a member of the House Intelligence Committee whose years as a federal prosecutor has given him an insight into law enforcement most American civilians can't match. Critics claim that the former FBI director is more in tune with one political party over the other, and appears as though he wanted to help sway Hillary towards victory in the 2016 election. The alleged corruption appears difficult to investigate because there seems to be a various level of corruption amid drama and side stories within the realm of politics. Some Americans worry about the internal corruption that might affect the outcome of the presidency and interrupt with the action plan set in place by Donald Trump and his administration. So true. But Gowdy knows they're going down, so I think he's kind of changing his tune.
Let's get reaction tonight from House Oversight Committee Chairman Trey Gowdy, instrumental in getting those Comey memos released. He joins us live this evening from Greenville, South Carolina. Mr. Chairman, thanks for being here.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I want to start by talking about the release of the memos, first of all. You have New York Congressman Jerry Nadler, ranking member of the Judiciary Committee, saying this: the release of these memos under the threat of subpoena by the majority has accomplished little other than corroborating Mr. Comey's previous testimony. Your reaction to that?
I read the memo 6 months ago. I think it's important for all members of Congress and ultimately the public to be able to see them. You can rest assured, Brett, if there was anything really, really important in these memos, the Democrats would have leaked what they read 6 months ago. I do think it's important that President Trump said, if any of my associates were involved in this collusion, I want to know it. I think it's really important that the Russia cloud the Democrats keep talking about was the salacious allegation of sexual misconduct. It was not the interference. And I think we've all learned a little bit more about Jim Comey as he goes on his morality tour over the next couple of weeks.
Do you think he broke the law by leaking those memos?
Have no way of knowing, and unlike Jim Comey, I don't compare people to mob bosses. I don't say they're unfit for office. I don't say they ought to be impeached. I trust Michael Horowitz. I think Michael Horowitz has done a fantastic job so far. That's the Inspector General. Let's let him figure out which memos were given to the law professor and whether or not they can contain any classified information.
But if they did, he would have broken the law.
Not by the standard he set in the summer of 2016. God knows how hard it would be to win that case. Remember, he ignored the statute that said grossly negligent. He now has a requirement. It has to be intentional, and you have to do it to harm the United States. So under the standard he set in the summer of 2016 with Secretary Clinton, I don't think Jesus could win that case.
Now, what of those other things struck you about these memos? There was one part in which he references CNN. I said media like CNN had them, the dossier he's talking about here, and we're looking for a news hook. I said it was important that we not give them the excuse to write that the FBI had the material, and that part is redacted, that we were keeping a very close hold. He said he couldn't believe that they hadn't gone with it. This is the president speaking. I said it was inflammatory stuff that they would get killed for reporting straight up from the source reports. I mean, it's important to point out that 4 or 5 days later, it's leaked to CNN that the president is briefed on this very thing.
Yeah, I actually...
You see how he knows they're going down. This is an older video right here of Trey Gowdy. He's not as direct. Now when they know that he's going down, now this was a newer video. You see, this was a newer video here of Trey Gowdy, where he goes, it's a felony, because now he knows that they're being caught. You see the difference?
Of the word leak that no one else has.
Yeah.
What he says is a leak is what the rest of us call a felony.
You see the difference? This was prior. This was first. This went out first. This was a couple of days ago. And this is recent. And you see how Gowdy changed his tune. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much.